Welcome back. On Here Do Now, we were analyzing this map showing territorial claims. So, land that different countries claim to own within Antarctica. Now, they're not setting up cities or military or anything. They're just saying this is ours, and if they choose to use it in the future, they'll want to. It's a little confusing. A lot of countries have signed a treaty that says they're not going to do anything with Antarctica. It's only for research, only for science. But these countries have kept their claims. So what I wanted you to do is to find patterns and make predictions. And there's a lot of patterns you could have come up with. One of the first one is like this area of Antarctica, which would be part of the western side of Antarctica. Seems to be a lot of countries claiming this area, right? United Kingdom, Argentina, Chile, all sort of claim this peninsula in this bay here. It's a pattern to notice is that there's a lot of disputes over who owns that area. A prediction might be that there's valuable resources here, or this is the area that's not so covered in ice that it's easier to access. Another pattern I'm noticing is a lot of these countries tend to be very southern countries. Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, Chile, these are all very southern countries. I predict that they claim this because they're very close to it. You could also say that most of Antarctica is claimed except for a little piece right here. You could say that's because this is very difficult to get to, or potentially bad resources. Today we're going to be looking at what does go on in Antarctica, what sort of activities humans get involved in. We're going to really be looking at human action in Antarctica, and that's going to be mostly research related. A lot of scientific research goes on down there for different topics. There was a treaty signed several decades ago that Antarctica would only be used for peaceful scientific research, that you can't use it for military, you can't mine it for resources. Even though countries claim it, it's sort of this neutral ground. 30 countries are doing research there actively right now. They're doing it on both claimed and unclaimed land. There's a lot of treaties that allow people, even though it's not your claimed land, you can still research there. But as a potential conflict that people may not like, you researching on their claimed land. But for the most part, most countries are okay as long as it's approved scientific research. A lot of different types of research going on, a lot around biology, so plant, animal, microbiology, so microorganisms, different things like how do they survive, what are they doing. A lot of geology, so looking at mountains and rocks and tectonic plates, things like that. Oceanography, how does the ocean work in extreme cold, different currents within the ocean, and climatology. So all this climate change, the pollution, the stuff we're doing, how's it affecting a continent like Antarctica that does not have humans polluting on it directly, yet it's still impacted. Sorry, my slides are a little out of order. Here's a map showing a lot of the different research facilities. So if it's a star that's filled in, it's year round. It's there all the time. If it's just outline star, that means it's only there in the summer months for Antarctica, which are the winter months for us. The colors tell you where they're coming from. You can see the red ones are mostly the U.S. ones, U.S. bases. There's a handful of U.S. bases. Orange would be South America, which makes sense because South America is like right here. This is where Chile and Argentina are. So there's a lot of Argentinian and Chilean research facilities. The blue would be European. There's Swedish, there's British, there's Russian. There's a lot of different European research. And then the purple would be Asian. And then there's a couple Oceanian ones. So Australia, Pacific Islands, a couple African. So we're going to be looking at some of these different research facilities today. Here's a picture of the South Pole if you wanted to know what it looked like. Here's the actual specific spot that's technically the southern pole of the United States. It's surrounded by all the flags of the world and all the different flags that are involved in Antarctica, and there's a small research base nearby. It's an American-run one. There are a couple weird ones. There's a proposed iceberg station where you get on an iceberg that's just floating in the ocean, dig into the ground. You're not actually building something, you're underground and you can do all your research. There's windmills on top, and you float around the ocean, do all your research, and then whenever that iceberg eventually melts, you would leave, and everything would just go back into the ocean. You don't have a bunch of human, waste and products and stuff that are cluttering and littering, destroying the environment. It'd be all made of ice. And this is kind of what it looks like. The idea. They practiced a few, but no active research going on with that living iceberg station. There are people who are pushing to build a permanent station in Antarctica for tourism, right? That you'd have a cool, futuristic looking dock where a cruise ship can come up. There's a hotel, and then there'll be excursions going out, taking tourists around to see different things. This is just an idea. This is just what it might look like. A lot of people are uncomfortable with this idea of tourists going to Antarctica and destroying the environment. So there's a lot of fear around that. But and again, there's a lot of people who would like to travel and explore in Antarctica. We're going to watch a couple videos as a class. But when those are done, you are going to investigate and research about research facilities. So you're going to find all these different bases in Antarctica. Your goal is to figure out what year they were built and then what country is in control. Summarize what sort of research is done there, what are they doing, and then what does the research base actually look like. Next, on the back, you're going to label all these on a map and then answer a question of which one would you want to work at and why, a level 3 question.